So in the first video that I had shared, I mentioned that one of the reasons why I left the project was because my family and I were going through some difficult times. I talked with my wife and we agreed that I think it would be beneficial to share what those difficult times were, not just for sharing it, but also to let others know that despite your most difficult days, despite your most horrible days, the one thing that you never do is give up. God is able to give you all the strength that you need in order to overcome these days. So, for those of you who may not know or don't remember, my wife and I were married back in 2020. About 2 years into the marriage, we made the decision of expanding the family, making it bigger. Sometime after that, we got the news that she was pregnant. And I remember the exact moment when it happened. I remember how happy and excited we were because our love was about to manifest itself. 1 month into the pregnancy, we were at church. I was in Bible studies, and I remember that she sent me a text, and the text read, "We need to go home." So I told our group, I need to stop, I need to go home. I saw my wife, she was very stressed. And on the way home, she tells me that she is bleeding. And as you may know, if you're pregnant, you're not supposed to be bleeding. She made an appointment to go see her doctor in the following days. And we received the news that my wife was no longer pregnant. She had had a miscarriage. I remember the moment when we saw each other after receiving the news. We were home and we hugged each other. We cried together. The one thing I tried to be was strong for the both of us. But as big of an impact as it was for me, it was even worse for her because as the future mom, she is the one that carries that burden and she felt guilty. I try my best to tell her that these things are unfortunately common, but that we will not give up. We are no one to question why things happen the way they do. We're simply going to believe in God and continue with our plan. And we did. Sometime after that, once again, we received the news that she was pregnant. Once again, we were happy and excited. But this time, we were more nervous. We were more worried. Unfortunately, things developed in such a way that my wife was so nervous and worried that she couldn't sleep. She couldn't rest. And because of that, the stress and the inability to sleep got to such a degree that she suffered a seizure right in front of me when we were trying to sleep. She got through it, and I said, let's try and go back to sleep. 5 minutes later, she suffered a second seizure. At that time, I noticed that during a seizure, she was not breathing. And my mind said, if she's not breathing, then the baby is not receiving any oxygen. And I said to myself, I'm about to lose them both. We try to go back to sleep again, but 5 minutes later, she suffered a third seizure. At that moment, I could no longer take it. I called 911 and they took her to the hospital. They put a bunch of wires on her head to try and monitor her brain activity. And we were there for about a week. They were trying to find the right type of dosage and the right type of anti-seizure medication because she was pregnant. She couldn't just take any medication. After about 1 week of being there and living in the hospital, we went home and we tried to go back to normalcy. Sometime after that, when she went back to work, I was at home. She calls me and she says that she has severe stomach problems. A lot of pain in her stomach. And I told her, please, you need to calm down, just sit down and rest. And she couldn't because she was also vomiting. And at that moment, she also said she felt like she was losing the baby. And I panicked. I called security from the workplace, told them, please call 911. They took her to the hospital once again. As I was driving there, I prayed to God and I said, please don't let us lose this baby. Not like this. Not again. When we got there, she got a sonogram. They told us the baby's fine. The baby's healthy. It was her gallbladder that was swollen. They said that she could have surgery, but having surgery when you're pregnant is very dangerous and very risky. So we decided not to have the surgery. We simply waited until her gallbladder went back to normal. After a couple days, it did, and we went home. The months after that were pretty normal as far as pregnancy goes. Around the 8-month mark, we had an appointment with her neurologist. And she tells us that obviously her pregnancy is considered a high-risk pregnancy, so she needs to be induced. She needs to continue taking her medication because they want to avoid her having a seizure while she's in labor. Because if that happens, it will be fatal for both the mom and the baby. And I wish I had never heard that. Fortunately, my wife didn't hear that because the doctor was speaking pretty fast and she also had an accent. And at that moment, I had a decision to make. Do I tell her or not? I made the decision to not tell her. I decided to simply carry that burden on my own. What I did tell her was, I need to see a strong woman because this is only baby 1 out of 2. Since the very beginning, since she became my girlfriend and then my fiance, we always had the idea of having 2 babies. So I told her, you need to be strong. You need to show your true strength as a woman because this is just part 1 out of 2. And so when the time came, we went to the hospital around midnight. Around 6 a.m., she was given the medication. At 2:30 p.m., she went into labor. And 25 minutes after that, our baby girl was born. And I told her that day I fell in love with her again because I saw a strong, fearless woman. She did something that I could never imagine doing, that I don't have the strength to do. She did it. And I told her that I was very proud of her. So now here we are. We're a family, a small family. It's her, me, our baby. And through the grace of God, we were able to purchase a house a few months ago. And we're continuing to work hard every single day so that we can give our baby a better life. And so because of that, I think it's only right that for some of the future videos, I can make videos with my wife. So for next week's video, my wife will be with me. And I asked her a question a few days ago. Yo te pregunté si con los 5 años que tenemos de casados, si nosotros podíamos dar recomendaciones matrimoniales. ¿Y tú me dijiste?
Sí.
Que sí. 5 years married, we've learned from each other. Hemos aprendido de cada uno. Hemos aprendido qué es lo que nos gusta del otro, qué es lo que no nos gusta del otro, pero seguimos adelante. And I think that the more opinions you hear, the more suggestions you hear, it can only be helpful for you if you're planning to get married or if you are married. You can learn from a marriage that's 5-year married. You can learn from a marriage that's 30-year married. So, el plan va a ser que para la próxima semana vamos a tener un video juntos en donde vamos a hablar acerca de nuestras opiniones matrimoniales, qué es lo que nosotros recomendamos, qué es lo que no recomendamos, y quizás pueden ustedes participar con ciertos comentarios para ver cómo podemos compartir el conocimiento y todo lo que hemos aprendido. Okay? So, thank you for watching and God bless.